Powergate Training is jou een-stop opleidingsverskaffer in die mynbousektor. Ons is by Merceta en die mynboukwalifikasieowerheid geakkrediteer en spesialiseer in mynbou, konstruksie en die kraan- en huisbedryf. Ons streef daarna om 'n bekwame werksmag op te lei, in 1-tot-1 of groepsessies, alles onder een dak. Powergate Training, dis jou poort na die toekoms.
Jy luister na Isak Du Plessis op Nuuspod.
Good morning, welcome to Nuuspod, and in the studio is Natasha Mazzone of the DA, and we are talking about the motion that was served in Parliament yesterday by the DA, and Natasha played an instrumental role in Parliament's decision to investigate the position of Mkhwebane as public protector. And we're going to talk to Natasha about the implications of yesterday's decision, because it was a sweeping moment. We never thought we're going to see something like that in Parliament. Natasha, what happened yesterday?
Well, Isak, it was certainly sweeping moment is a good way of putting it. It was a moment in history that I don't think we've seen in Parliament for a very long time. It was a moment where we showed that if South Africa puts political ideology aside and puts South Africa first, we get things done, and we get things done properly. And what happened was I put in a motion of no confidence in the public protector. We have rules that we have to follow when we go about the removal of the head of a Chapter 9 institution, for good reason, because they are our watchdogs, and they are the watchdogs of our constitution. An independent panel of 3 of the finest minds in our country, completely politically independent, looked at my motion and looked at the evidence that I had presented them. And they came back to Parliament with a report to find that there was prima facie evidence that, in fact, an investigation was necessary into the fitness to hold office. We know that people like Ace Makashule, Mervyn Dirks, Cole Niehaus, a lot of the Ace Makashule faction of the ANC came out very strongly, saying that they would never vote with the enemy, using this kind of military jargon that is just so archaic and so unnecessary in a democratic society. And we know that there was a struggle within the ANC as to whether or not their ideology or their pragmatism would come forward. So what we saw pragmatism winning. I think that it's safe to say the Ramaphosa camp won that round well and truly. It was a hybrid session, so that means that people voted on the online platform and in the House. And we saw at least 62 members of the ANC drop off the platform, so they simply did not take part in the vote. We still won an overwhelming majority that were voting in favour of an ad hoc committee to be established to investigate the fitness to hold office of the public protector. And very interesting to note was the fact that the EFF voted against the investigation of the public protector, even though just over a year ago we had people like Floyd Shivambu tweeting about how terrible the public protector was and how she wasn't fit to hold office. So one must only assume that their little plan and all the tea parties at Nkandla with Zuma and all the cuddling up to Ace Makashule that's being done by the EFF also fell flat on its face yesterday when they realized they simply don't have numbers to attempt to take over government in a non-democratic fashion. So I think the whole process was a great victory for South Africa, and certainly a great show that we can protect the constitution when we stand together and the rational centre holds, and we don't let the radicals take over.
If you take what happened in the days before yesterday, some ANC members saying that they're going to stand up and they're not going to support this, and then it happened that Mkhwebane Montashe had a meeting with them, and apparently he had some sharp words to the members of his party that changed the mood a little bit. And then came the decision yesterday. Is there something to be read in this? Because people are still hoping that President Cyril Ramaphosa will somehow get hold of the ANC and manage to steer it in another direction.
Well, I think, the last time we've seen something like, similar to this was when Parliament voted together in favor of the Eskom inquiry, and that we would do the inquiry into Eskom, and that the results of that inquiry would be sent to Judge Zondo. And at the time, that was also a very difficult maneuver to put together, because, of course, you had those who were in favor of Jacob Zuma inside the ANC, and then those who were in favor of Cyril Ramaphosa. And of course, the Zuma was so highly implicated in that particular inquiry into Eskom that, of course, the Zuma acolytes had tried to stop that going forward. But once again, Team South Africa won the day, and we managed to get, that particular report and Judge Zondo's commission set up. So I think what we need to do is we need to look a little bit further than just the ANC, and we need to look at how the political landscape of the country is possibly changing. Because what you have is the radical extremists who are the EFF, the Ace Makashules, the Didi Mabuzas, quite frankly, the Cole Niehauses, the Mervyn Dirks. And I had to laugh with someone like Mervyn Dirks suddenly coming up out of nowhere and chanting this talk of a big man when he's really nothing but a forgotten backbencher. I mean, I hadn't heard the name Mervyn Dirks since the last time he pulled a ZAP sign in Parliament. And that was very much the last time we heard from him, quite frankly, thankfully. And then all of a sudden, now Mkhwebane coming out and in support of Ace Makashule. So certainly he knows he thinks he knows where his bread is buttered. So I think what we're seeing the rational centre coming together and realizing that if the rational centre doesn't hold, the extremists in this country will win, and they will take us down one way, and that's right down to the bottom. We can't afford as a country to fall much farther than we've fallen already. And if we don't come together and save what's left of our country, and we let, quite frankly, this radicalism take over, then we are doomed as a nation. We have absolutely no chance of ever being a non-racial democratic country. We know that these radicals are very, very racist, not only towards white people, but towards Indian people, people of colored descent. And these are not the people we want running our country. They will take us down a path that is very frightening. They will destroy our economy even more than they've already tried to destroy our economy. And they're after one thing and one thing alone, and that is to loot what is ever left of the South African coffers.
Jou winkel, vars gestig in 2020, is hier om jou lewe op te kikker met al die beste produkte op jou vingerpunte. Sniffel, bestel, betaal en sien daar jou gunsteling produkte word by jou deur afgelewer. Ons is trots Suid-Afrikaans, trots Afrikaans en trots dat jy ons ondersteun. Ons behoog altyd om die beste produkte met die beste kliëntediens te lewer. Dis jou produkte, dis jou winkel.
Jy luister na Isak Du Plessis op Nuuspod.
How are you going to handle this in the coming days?
So what we've done is we've asked President Ramaphosa to immediately suspend her pending the outcome of this investigation. Now, she's taken a what she calls a stress-induced sabbatical, and she's off work at the moment. it would be great if she put in a resignation, but that's not what we got. We just got a sabbatical, but she will be back from that sabbatical. So what that means is she would have access to documents, to the office, to people who work in her office, and that's where things become problematic, because there could always be the chance that somehow she influences, and I'm not saying that she would, but somehow she influences the natural flow of justice by being in the office and having access to the office. So we are asking for suspension, where she is not allowed to talk to people from the office or have access to any of the documents. We want this procedure in Parliament to be done with the necessary urgency. So although we want to follow the letter of the law completely, we do feel that it needs to be done urgently, because the Office of the Public Protector holds such importance to our country. So we think that it would be better that she be suspended. And then pending the outcome of that investigation, she would either then continue as her role as public protector, or then the president would remove her and we would establish a committee to elect a new public protector.
Why is it important for you as a party to remove Mkhwebane from a position?
There is not a court in this country that has found that she is fit and proper to hold office. In fact, some of the most damning court rulings that I have ever read have been made in respect of Mkhwebane, going so far as to say that she is incompetent to hold her office, that she is delinquent in the way she runs her office. It's an absolute embarrassment, quite frankly. And had I been the public protector who had even one of these court cases ruled against me, I would have resigned and just crawlen away and hoped everyone had forgotten my name. But this particular public protector coming out fighting, obviously politically involved, and political machinations happening, through every process that she deals with. So it simply cannot carry on like this. The public protector is the watchdog of our constitution, is the watchdog of our public funds, and there can never be a cloud hanging over a public protector. It's not fair to South Africa, and it certainly undermines the integrity of our South African constitution.
What does something like this means for an opposition party?
I think it goes to show that big opposition is necessary, because we can bring the numbers necessary to move certain pieces in the political landscape that require moving. It shows that we have the strength to really hold water when it comes to issues like this. It shows that the machinery that works behind the Democratic Alliance is large enough to employ and to enjoy a staffing component that can put together these kind of motions that are legally sound and legally viable. We are also a party that seek expert advice, so we would have never done anything without having received expert advice from the outside. But it goes to show South Africa that opposition parties do have a massive role to play in our politics. And we think, oh, well, the DA just whines all the time, but we never get anything right. And here we show that we got an SABC inquiry correct, we got an inquiry into Eskom correct, and now we have an inquiry into the public protector. So it does go to show that these big opposition parties have a huge role to play in safeguarding the South African democracy.
Natasha Mazzone of the DA, thank you so much for having talked to us. I'm sorry that we cannot see you because of load shedding that you have, but thank you very much for talking to us, and all the best for today.
Thank you very much indeed, and let's hope the next time we talk we have a DA Minister of Public Enterprises so that we don't have load shedding anymore.
There you go. Have a nice day, Natasha.
Thank you, you too.
Bye.
Wil jy seker maak dat jou boedelbeplanning, eiendomstransaksie of ander regswerk deur professionele kundiges hanteer word? Hurter Spies Prokureurs beskik oor uitstekende kundigheid wat die opstel van testamente en die hantering van boedels betref. Hurter Spies Prokureurs het ook bekendheid verwerf vir hulle sukses met litigasie oor jou burgerregte. Kliënte se unieke behoeftes word deeglik deur kundiges op elke terrein hanteer. Skakel Hurter Spies Prokureurs vandag nog vir 'n konsultasie by 012-941-9239 of stuur 'n e-pos aan admin@hurterspies.co.za. Dis 012-941-9239.